Hi guys, my name's Sabrina. Welcome back to the channel. I look like this because I had probably the most frustrating, angering, most annoying day I've had in a while, I think. To the point where my mom today was just like, I just want to cry right now. Like, this is so bad, I just want to cry. And I was like, you know what? I feel you. You read the title of the video, and I'm gonna tell you why this was so terrible. It's 12:01 a.m. and it's the 27th of December. My actual Christmas was pretty good, other than I ate this fruit salad thing that Filipinos usually have at parties, and it's like creamy and it has like jello in it, and it's like it has fruit and it's amazing, and I ate like 5 bowls of it and it gave me diarrhea, TMI. But that was the only bad part of my Christmas. What was bad about this year's Christmas is what came after. I live in Vegas, and my family went to California to visit our family because we don't want to spend Christmas alone with just us. And my parents had a few days off. So we were going to go to Illinois for Christmas to visit our other side of the family, but my mom and dad both have to work on the 27th, which is today, and they were just like, oh, we don't want to get like trapped in a blizzard or like have our flight delayed because of a snowstorm or anything like that, right? Okay, so it's the 26th. We're supposed to leave at 10 a.m. So the first thing that happens when they turn on the TV is news alert, it's snowing in California, and the road that connects to Las Vegas is closed. So basically, anyone and everyone who has to go from Vegas to Southern California pretty much only goes to Cajon Pass. And it's this road in the mountain, and it's up high and it's scary. And sometimes there's traffic depending on the day, but it's really not that bad. I really don't think that the drive to California is that bad. It's pretty much the fastest way to get there, and there's like no other main way to get there. Like, you have to take some real sketchy roads to get to Vegas and vice versa, whatever. At this point, it was 9 a.m. They were watching the news. My parents were like, oh, it's just that part. I don't know, like, I guess they didn't know that Cajon Pass was closed off, and they heard that only the 515, which is a highway, was closed off. So they're like, oh, we'll just take the 215 and see what happens. So it's 10 a.m. We get all our stuff in the car and we go. Yeah? Right. Okay. So everything's fine. We're like cruising along. It's pretty good for California traffic, you know? I take a little nappy nap because whenever the car is just cruising at a constant speed, I kind of just fall asleep and don't worry about anything because I'm a passenger. My parents were driving and they're like pretty good drivers, I think. But then we get to traffic and we're like, oh heck, you know, maybe it's just regular traffic. So we're sitting there for 30 minutes, and then that turns into an hour, and then that turns into like 2 to 3 hours, and we're like, okay, what the heck is going on? So we get to the end of where Google Maps says that the traffic has stopped, where, like, you know, the red part. We get to that top part where it stops, and they closed off the highway we were on, so we all had to exit off the highway. So they funneled us into this exit that I don't even know where it went. I'm so frazzled right now. I'm so tired.
What's wrong with you?
So we funneled off into the exit, and my parents are like, oh heck, what are we gonna do? We've been here for like 2 to 3 hours and traffic is literally not moving. So we pulled in to a gas station slash McDonald's, and we were like, okay, we all should go to the bathroom before we try to figure out what we're gonna do. Or we can ask around everyone else who's traveling to see what they're gonna do. I just noticed I have a little antenna on my head. Hi. And then we walk into the McDonald's slash gas station, and the women's restroom line, of course, is a mile long, and we have to wait like 20 minutes just to pee. There's only 3 stalls open. The first stall, or there's 4 stalls in total, but only 3 are open. One of them is out of order. the other one has a lady in there who's been in there for like 30 minutes and we don't know why. And then the other two are open. Oh, and then there was one more stall that had a bunch of shit and toilet paper in it, so no one wanted to use it. And you know what? I understand. My dad also had to go to the bathroom. The men's restroom was flooded. And he still peed in it. I think some men use the women's restroom and like I'm okay with that, you know, like we gotta do what we gotta do. We're all kind of suffering. Use the bathroom. It doesn't matter. Their stalls, just don't like peek into anyone else's stall, don't like invade anyone's privacy, and we're good. It's fine, whatever. My dad gets out of the men's restroom quickly because it's flooded and no one was in it. So my mom's like, hey, go ask around what we should do and go buy us some chicken nuggets and french fries because we don't know how long we're going to be on the road. The moment that we went into that rest stop, actually, the Cajon Pass actually opened up, and I saw it on Twitter, but I was like, oh, I don't know if this is reliable though. Like, what if this is just people saying it? I'll do some more research, I'll look at other news articles, and it was true. It was open, and traffic was starting to move very slowly though. Before we were bumper to bumper and like barely moving. But now it was like, you know, a slow, steady pace. It was okay. So we got chicken nuggets, we got french fries, turned the GPS back on. We were on the way, and we were all okay with how traffic was moving at that time because at least it was sort of moving. When before we were literally just sitting there. I took so many Snapchats while this was happening because I was just like baffled. Snow on the West Coast isn't a good thing. Like, it's pretty and it rarely happens, but because it rarely happens, no one knows how to drive in snow, so there's so many accidents, and cities aren't prepared to deal with snow, so it takes a while for things to get moving. I eventually fall asleep. I eat my chicken nuggets and some french fries, and I'm like, oh, food coma. I'm just gonna make myself like fall asleep because I trust my parents. They're my parents to get us wherever we are, and you know, my life usually just works out, and I'm like, you know what? In a few hours, I will be in my bed and it's okay. So this was around, I think, like 12 or 1. Yeah, that's my timeline. But then I wake up when we're suddenly in traffic again. So we're like barely moving again. It was sort of faster than the first time where we were just at a standstill, but it was slower than the second time, you know? So then we're sitting there in traffic for like another 1 to 2 hours. I don't remember what time it was because I didn't want to look. And then we get to the end of the red part where Google says that the slow traffic is done. And guess what? They closed off the highway because it was flooded. So this entire time while we were driving, not only was it still snowing on the mountain, it was snowing pretty hard, and I think through Barstow that we passed by, it was snowing, and it was like heavy, like slushy snow, and it was still raining while we were driving, like it was continuous rain nonstop. And anytime there's any kind of precipitation, bad things happen on the West Coast. Like, it's just not great. So there was a police car there, and then there was flares on the road, and we were all like, oh my god, are you kidding me? And they put us through the rest stop in Baker, where the Mad Greek Cafe is, and the Alien fresh beef jerky, and the world's largest thermometer. So we went through all that, and we were just like, okay, well, we're good on gas, no one wants to pee, no one wants to eat, we just want to get home because we've been on the road for forever. We should have been home 3 hours ago. At this point, my phone is also out of battery, and I'm just like, you know what, it's okay. We'll be home in like 1 to 2 hours, and I can live without my phone for a little bit, like I'll be fine. So we try to exit out of Baker, out of this rest stop, and guess what? They closed off the exits to the highway that we were supposed to take. It's the most common highway everyone takes in between Nevada and California. So my parents were just like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, we parked in an Arby's and we just went to the bathroom and we sat down and we were just like, what are we gonna do? Do you guys want to sleep in the car and wait for the highway to open up again? Because it was closed because of flooding. So we were just like, should we sleep in the car and just wait? Or do we try to find another way? Or a lot of people in Arby's were saying that they were going to go back to Barstow, which was 2.5 hours away, and take another highway that's at a higher elevation so that they don't come in contact with the flooding. And my mom was just like, that seems like more driving. Barstow is 2.5 hours away. I don't want to be in the car for another 2.5 hours and then another like 3 hours. That's 6 more hours in total that we have to drive back to Vegas. So we just sat in the Arby's for a while. I charged my phone up to like 12%. Then we talked to other people in Arby's who were also going to Henderson, where I live, and we were just like, we found this road that goes higher up into the mountains that doesn't require us to go back to Barstow, and that takes us to Henderson. So maybe if all of us go in a group together and take this road, it'll be easier. And if we get lost, we can, come in contact with each other. And we were like, okay, sounds great. I don't know if the cars we were following later on were them, but I'm pretty sure that it was them. So my family put some more gas in our car, and we were like, okay, let's go. Let's do this again. We got this. And throughout this entire thing, I didn't drink any water because I didn't want to have to stop in between to go pee because I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. So I held it in pretty good. And I'm just dehydrated now, and it's like fine. So we're going down this road. It's kind of sketchy. There are only I could only see like at least 20 to 30 cars in front of us. It was a single road, but it was the one where one lane is going that way, and then the other one's going this way, and people would go around us from behind and go in front to like pass us, like yeah, whatever. It's one lane basically. It was really sketchy because there are no street lights and I didn't have service, so it was kind of frightening a little bit. You just feel very, very small. At this time, it was about like 5 or 6, maybe 7. I don't really remember, but there were no street lights. We had to use our high beams if we weren't close by cars. I didn't have service. It was pitch black, could not see a thing. There were no houses, no nothing. And no like billboards, no rest stops, nothing. So you just feel very, very tiny and insignificant because out the window you can't see anything except for the side of the road and just black abyss. So it's not fun. And we were getting up to the point where it said make a right turn. When we went to make the right turn, it was closed off. It was closed off. And we were like, oh my god, are you kidding? Another road is closed off. What are we gonna do? So my dad was just like, you know what? We're gonna just follow the other cars and see how it's gonna go. So we turned around, followed the other cars until it says to make another right turn. We were like, all right, we're gonna make another right turn. So we go and we go and we go. At this point, there's only a truck and another car in front of us, and we were just like, okay, well, I hope this is the right way because we're the only 3 people going this way. So we go. My dad scrolls up to see how far he has to go or what we're gonna do next, and we're gonna go in a roundabout and turn back around to that highway we were on. And when my mom saw that, she said, I just feel like crying right now. I just want to cry. And I was like, that's when I started to feel bad. Before this point, I was just laughing at the irony, and I was like, we didn't go to Illinois because we didn't want to get snowed in, but here we are in California getting snowed in, and that's on climate change. So now I was getting serious. I was like, oh heck, we are literally in the middle of butt heck nowhere. There are small, I guess you could say companies or bars or stuff, but there were no lights on in the houses. The houses were tiny. This was a middle of nowhere town. It was kind of scary. We were just like, well, what are we gonna do? The Google Maps isn't showing any roads around us, but I don't think it's just this roundabout, so We were like, hey, where'd that other car that was in front of us go? And it went straight, so we just followed the car. We went straight. The GPS recalibrated. There were now two cars in front of us, and I'm pretty sure those are the two families we talked to in Arby's who are also taking this route with us. Again, no lights, no service, no radio signal even. My mom had to take out her like Kesha, Katy Perry, and Maroon 5 CDs out of her like glove compartment. I was just like, God, what if we never get home? And I'm an anxious person. I'm an anxious person in general. But my anxiety was like up to its max here. Like I was like kind of hyperventilating just a little bit. Like I could feel my breaths were a little bit shorter. I was like literally squeezing all my leg muscles, being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I was like making this nervous face that I make. You feel really insignificant and just scared because you don't know what's gonna happen. So we keep driving. We're like, okay, this is fine. It was like a clean road. It wasn't like a dirt road, but it wasn't smooth like a highway, even though they called it a highway. But there were like a lot of bumps and dips, and it was scary because this path would take us to a higher elevation. We had to go up into the mountains to get over the flooding and into Vegas. As we were going up the mountain, though, we had to swivel. It was scary. Like, my sister and my mom were holding onto the oh shit handles, and I was like squeezing on my muscles and just laughing nervously because that's what I do when I'm nervous. And it was so frightening. Like, I can't even explain how scared I was. Like, I feel like it isn't even real now that I'm at home. At this point, we were about 2 hours away from home, so we were like, okay, we can do this. We got this. And then the Google says, welcome to Nevada, and everyone just let out a sigh of relief, and we're like, oh my god, yes, we're home. Home is Nevada. And my mom's just like, I just want to see civilization again. I just want to see lights. I just want something. I'm so like tired of this. I think it was about 8 or 9 at this point. We were like, damn. Yeah, it was about like 9. It was 9 o'clock at this point. We were just like, we want to go home. We just want to be home right now. I want to hug my cats. And we saw this big flood of lights. It was another city. I don't even know what it was. But we were just like, oh yes, we're almost there. And we keep driving. We take a right turn. And there's more cars coming onto the highway that we were about to turn onto. And we were just like, thank God. Okay, we're going the right way. This way is probably definitely not closed. All of the roads are like nicely paved. We can go 70 miles per hour on this road. It's great. And then it starts snowing, and we were like, oh, not only is it snowing, but for the first half of this highway, there's still no lights. There's a bunch of construction, and we're going downhill. So it's a little scary. After about an hour, we're finally home. We get back to our house, and it's great. And we were driving, my dad was driving for 13 hours. It was quite a journey. And it turns out the way we were coming in from was from Red Rock Canyon. Super cool. Would not do it again. America's pretty big, and I've gone on a road trip from Illinois to Florida before, which was a long drive, and I've been on long flights. And I don't really mind long drives, but we were only prepared for about a 4 to 5 hour drive, not a 13-hour drive. So you can imagine how stressed out and annoyed we all felt. The highway we were supposed to take, it was literally closed from Baker all the way to Prim, if you know what that means. So basically it was closed for a very long distance, and there was no way of people getting through that because of ice, accidents, and flooding. So that's great. So as of right now, there are probably still people in California who need to get to Vegas but haven't found a way there, or there are still people in Vegas who need to get back to California and didn't have a way to get there either. So that's just how life works, I guess. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at sab.grey and Twitter at sabgrey. I'm more active on Twitter. Support me on my Patreon if you want to. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. and I will see you in the next video. Bye!